And we talked about shift happening, as I mentioned earlier, between us, within us, through us, and then today, beyond us. Each one of us has known through this process that every step of the way has had some challenging moments for us to consider. But I think we'll find that today, considering shift happening beyond us, will probably be the most challenging at all. So I guess that's my warning to you. So with that warning, would you please pray with me? Holy One, you have moved among us already in the singing and praying of your people. And so we ask now that the words of my mouth and the meditations of all our hearts might rise up to meet you, and that you will be pleased. God, open us up for your word. In your many names and in the name of all that is holy. Amen. So Kate and I have been living with some friends as we wait to open on our house this Wednesday. Praise God. And so there are a lot of funny things about us staying with these friends, but one of them is that they have a parrot. And so we've been getting to know Jessie, and it's been quite a treat. And it did remind me the other day of a story I heard about a parrot that I wanted to share with you this morning. This story is about a woman who belonged to parrots, and she went to her priest to say, all right, I've got some trouble with my 2 female parrots. And so he said, well, what's your problem? And she said, well, they just say these obscene things. And he said, well, what do they say? And she said, every time they get a chance, they say, hi, we're lookers. Want to have some fun? The priest said, oh my goodness, that is obscene. And so he said, I might have a solution, though, to this problem. So he said, I have 2 male talking parrots, which I've taught to pray and read the Bible. And I think that if you'll just bring your 2 female parrots over and let them spend some time with my male parrots, that we can clear this thing up. And so the woman was so grateful to the priest, and she said, listen, this might really be the solution, and I will bring them over as soon as you tell me I can. So the next day, she brought her female parrots to the priest's house. As he ushered her in, she saw that the 2 male parrots were indeed inside their cage, holding rosary beads. Impressed, of course, she walked over and put her 2 female parrots in with them. After a few minutes, the female parrots cried out, hi, we're lookers, want to have some fun? There was stunned silence between the priest and the woman. And then, shocked, one of the male parrots said, put away the beads, Frank. Our prayers have been answered. The story of the parrots, I hope, gives us a humorous way to look not just at the birds, but also at ourselves. The bottom line of today's message is that we all have a tendency to make everything about us. To make everything about me, what I want, what I need, what's good for me. And while that's not inherently bad or wrong, it is true that we go overboard a lot of the time with it. And to get us off the hook just a little bit, in our culture, we are encouraged every single day to do exactly that. To think more about ourselves than we do before. We're encouraged about the way we look, about who we are, about the things we own, and how all of those things are to be a service to me. And so all around us we see that. I know that as I have through the years worked in corporate environments teaching the change cycle, that I find frequently that companies are very eager to form teams and get people to do teamwork. Some of you may experience that in your workplace even now. And what's interesting to me is that when I ask them a question like this, I ask them, how do you evaluate your teams when it comes time for evaluations and performance appraisal? And when it comes time to give promotions and raises, and without fail, what they tell me is that they still measure their employees by their individual performance. Do you see how that doesn't match up with building a team together? So we get my point. We're surrounded by it. And then we come to church on Sunday, and if we're paying attention, we encounter a God who invites us for just this little while to not make it about us. And still, we persist. We still persist to make this thing we call worship, which is to be about God, about us. And the story we read today from the Gospel of Luke gives us a chance to pull back the curtain on the life of Jesus and see what it looks like to think beyond ourselves. Just a quick summary of that story. Jesus went to the temple, as was his custom, and the elders handed him the scroll to read, just like we read Scripture here every Sunday. And so he was reading from the Hebrew Scripture, a passage from Isaiah. And this passage basically says that that he has come to give good news to the poor, to give sight to the blind, to let the captives go free, and to let the oppressed go free. And so when the Jews who were there in the synagogue were listening to him, they were really attentive to it. And right after he rolled up the scroll and put it aside, he said, "And today, in your hearing, I am come to be the one who will deliver sight to the blind, good news to the poor, and let the oppressed and the captives go free." Jesus said, that's why I'm here. I'm here to offer that. Well, those who were listening to him were so excited about it. They were happy that Jesus had come to do all of these things for them. And then came the kicker. Jesus said, wait just 1 minute. I didn't come to do this just for you. I came to do it for everyone. Now understand what this meant to them. This meant that people who were other than Jewish. It meant that people who were other than the color they were. It meant that the people who were less fortunate than they were. It meant everybody, all across the land, in the world that Jesus lived. And when they heard this, they got really angry. Are you with me on this? He told them this simple little thing. No, it's not just for you, it's for everybody. And they got angry, and they got so mad that they took him out of town and tried to throw him off a cliff. Now that's a cliffhanger story. They tried to throw Jesus off the cliff. This is a fascinating story. Because in a way, Jesus came out that day. Jesus came out as the one who was going to come and try to teach us what it looks like to make God's love available everywhere and to everyone. No matter what they look like or what language they speak or what socioeconomic strata they belong to, that Jesus had come to be sure that all knew the grace of God. So as long as Jesus was there to serve them, that's the immediate thing. Then they loved him. As soon as Jesus said, no, I'm here to serve more than just you, they hated him. And when he explained exactly who he wanted to include, they tried to kill him. So regardless of this, Jesus held fast to the very important truth. A truth he understood about God. That God's love is always beyond us. He understood that God's love is always more powerful than just us. Jesus understood that the Spirit's capacity to move beyond us is infinite. And God's ability to bless us is beyond our understanding. It's all beyond us. So I got to thinking about what kind of wisdom or learning we could take away from this story and from this teaching. And I just want to share some of the things that came up for me. First, I want to ask you that from now on, when you come into this place to worship on Sunday, remember that God is moving in places beyond you, even in this room. Even in this room. It's not just happening with you or for you or to you. It is happening beyond you, even in this room. One of the ways to think about this is that we frequently can get hung up on which song we sing, how we say a prayer, how we celebrate communion. We can get really wrapped up in all of that. And some of us can even get mad about it, amen? So I want you to think about it this way. When we think about it beyond us in this room, what that means is that when we sing a song you don't like, somebody over here loved you and was blessed by it. So when we think about God beyond us, we have to say, it is enough that someone else was blessed. I don't have to like it. It was enough that someone else in the room was blessed because God is working beyond just us. It also occurred to me that when we get stuck and we want to have things our own way, remember that God has God's sight on surprising you, not on making you comfortable. God has sights on surprising you. Don't you love that? The trouble is, if we could keep looking in the same old places for God to show up, then what we do is we miss something special that God has for us. That special thing that God wants to surprise us with, we miss it completely because we keep looking in all the same places, in all the same songs, in all the same prayers, in all the same people. This story about Jesus says, I'm going to surprise you because I'm going to be doing that in ways beyond you. So pay attention because I'm going to bless you in a way that you will not get that. It also brought up for me that when we are most afraid in our lives, that we should be reminded that when we come to the end of what we know, when we come to the end of what we're able to think about or imagine, the Spirit is just getting started. Our end is the Spirit's beginning. And by the way, church, this is what we call faith. This is what we call faith. We are always having to believe that God is working beyond us into places that we cannot yet see. That's what faith is. The trouble, of course, is that we are good about pontificating about faith until it comes time to really believe in it. To really say, I'm at the end of what I know how to do. I'm at the end of what I can actually see. And now I have to lean in to this thing I cannot yet see that is faith. When I was about 8, I got curious about this thing we call faith. I grew up with a pastor as a father. And so I remember going to him and asking him to explain faith to me. So I'd heard enough to know that I didn't really get it. And so this is how he explained it to me. It has served me my whole life. He said, well, baby, when we're driving and it's foggy, he said, we have to turn our headlights up, right? We have to turn them, and we have to hope that we can see as far as we can. But what happens is if there's some moment where even with the headlights, you can't see what's out there because of the fog. And so faith means that you just keep trusting that you go to the edge of the fog, and then you'll be able to see a little bit more. And then you go to the edge of the fog again, and you'll be able to see a little bit more. But faith is the willingness to go to the edge of the fog when you do not know what lies beyond. That's pretty good. Some of you do my dad. And I just never forgot it. And it has served me so many times to think about the fog. I'm driving the fog. Why wouldn't I have faith in God? So this is what we're called to in this issue of blindness. After people tried to push Jesus off the cliff, The scripture says, it feels like it leaves out a whole bunch of details. So there was this big moment they tried to throw him off the cliff. Apparently they didn't. And then that story ends with, and he moved through the crowd and went on his way. So I try to imagine this Jesus who could have said, you know what, this is the beginning of my ministry, I'm done. Nope, I am not going to set myself up to have people push me off cliffs. Instead, though, what we hear is that he walked through the crowd. There was some power in him that said, you know what, I'm just going to keep going. I'm going to keep on, and I'm going to trust that what is beyond me now, God has it. And I'm going to trust. So as we look forward together, you and I, as a church, we know, right, that there are going to be some cliff-hanging moments. Yeah. And in those cliff-hanging moments, that is the time when we have to trust that God is working beyond us, beyond the cliffhanger, beyond our fear and our concern. God is working, preparing the way, making the rough places smooth, inviting us on a great adventure. That's how I like to think about it. And we can be afraid, but you know what? It's going to happen anyway. We might as well just go along. We might as well take the adventure. And so, in thinking about that, please think with me this morning about this. We are not here in this place to run on our own steam. You can do that anywhere. We are not here to call ourselves a community of faith if we actually have none. We are not here to pretend that our way is God's way. But someone asked me not too long ago what was the most important thing I had learned in my years of ministry. And I thought about it for a minute, and I said, I've learned that God is big. That God is just big. It's so big that it blows my mind. God is so big that God is working beyond anything I can know or understand. And all that is left for me is to trust Him. That's right. And I've learned that every time I try to box God in, I get my behind kicked. Because it is not a containable thing, this God that we serve. It has no limits except ours. So if there are limitations to God, it's only because we have limitations. So I think we're going to experience the bigness of God. The God that is changing things beyond what we can see. Then, when we are overwhelmed and life seems unfair, we have to believe more in God's love than we do in our current circumstances. That's one of the faults. Or when we are afraid and lost because of the ending of a relationship, whether that's in divorce or death, we have to believe more in God's healing power than we do in our hurt and grief and fear. When we're struggling with finances, we have to believe more in God's ability to bless us than we believe in our current financial situation. When we can't find the job that most fulfills us, we have to believe in God's creativity more than we believe in our dead end streets. And when, as a church, we are called to shift and include and grow and mature, then we must believe more in God's plans for us than we do in our own limitations. That is the God that works beyond us. And all the while that God is working beyond us, God still comes to us personally and gives us this promise that neither death, nor life, nor powers, or principalities, or death, or life, or anything else in all of creation can separate us from the love of God. That, my friends, is something to trust. That's something to lean into, that we will never be left or forsaken, and yet there will be things we don't always know yet. I pray that we'll hold that dear and intimate promise from God while letting